Yeah. And welcome back to Talking Sports, baby. We are in it. Sports are happening. Baseball's live. We had a scare this week with the Marlins, and now all of a sudden, a couple days later, Markakis opts in. We've got Soto back. Baseball with the Houston and the Dodgers game, baseball has turned the script, which has me in a much better mood than I was the past couple days. Meanwhile, the NFL starting to feel the COVID a little bit. More importantly, we are on the eve of the NBA bubble. We've got 2 games tomorrow night in the basketball. We're going to cover it all. We got Bobby Skinner. We got Keith McPherson. Let's do it, boys. Let's talk sports. What's going on, fellas? How you doing? Happy Wednesday early evening for us. I know Keith and I yamming this out before the Yankees game. We finally get a Yankees game after 2 postponements because it seems like the Marlins and Phillies were kind of dumb. Anyways, and more pertinent news, breaking news for Bobby Skinner and the Giants. Nate Soldier just opted out. Bobby, what's up, dude? Are you starting a little tighter butthole about football, or it's this you knew this is coming, or what's going on?
Not at all. We were rolling with the punches. Guys are going to opt out. It's guys with big contracts. I was very surprised to find out that the NFLPA got this deal done to where these guys' contracts roll over. So it's not like they're losing all their money. Their contracts just move back a year, which is pretty wild to get from the NFLPA. So obviously there's going to be guys opt out. You know, Nate Solder's got a son with cancer. And some of the other guys have like issues like with their children or newborns and stuff like that. So there's reasons for it. It's not just like fear of the COVID for their own self. And that's kind of what this whole thing's been about, is thinking about others. But it seems like we're getting ready to go. I mean, if baseball's continuing to power through, NFL is 100% powering through. There ain't no way we're missing this year.
I think Nate Solder being a part of the NFLPA, we kind of knew that he was going to opt out. And like Bobby said, his kid, his contract, it makes sense. And also the Giants drafted a young guy that, like, that's his spot. They've got the heir to that left tackle spot, like, right there already. So, like, I don't know if they even need Nate Solder. I'm looking at some other names that I threw in the notes. Obviously, Hightower from the Patriots, Damian Williams, another guy who they drafted his replacement.
Chiefs can't win in the playoffs anymore without playoff.
That running back out of LSU with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Marquise Goodwin opted out. Devin Funchess opted out. Those are 2 guys that are playing receiver in 2 different or going to different teams. Funchess going to the Packers and Marquise Goodwin going to the Eagles. And they're not going to take their chances. So it's getting interesting for the NFL, but I know how football players think. I know, like, there's some guys, they don't give a damn about coronavirus. They're going to bang heads. They're going to rock out. They're not worried about getting sick. They're not worried about getting anyone else sick. They're going to bust skulls. So they will field 32 NFL teams, however they got to do it.
I will say football, NFL is going to roll on. We've been on that from the start. I am interested to see, because I've been tight butthole the past 48 hours with the Marlins thing, man. It sucked. And you wondered what was going to come out. If those Phillies tests came back positive, I would not be in good spirits right now. We'd be talking league shutdown. We'd be talking all sorts of crap. Knock on wood, it stays with the Marlins, and I think that'll be a good start for baseball, taking things more seriously. NFL, man, they're going to have something happen. Like, if one dude gets it and you start tackling and banging and having a good time, NFL is going to have theirs. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like when it happens. As of now, the Patriots, they've lost 6 guys, including a couple normal cogs on defense, Hightower and Chung. We'll see how that sorts out. What's going to make headlines? Because, Keith, you said, we're starting to get some more names. And Damian Williams, sure, and Bobby's joking about playoff Damian, because what was that, Joe Buck? But what's going to shake the NFL? It'd have to be quarterback, right? Like any other position, I think people kind of shrug their shoulders. But if a QB steps out, then we're in it.
QB or just absolute superstar, like, a Christian McCaffrey. Actually, not even McCaffrey, because the Panthers suck.
I'm waiting for Saquon Barkley to opt out.
He's not opting out. I think he already said he's staying in. But anyways, it would have to be a QB or a star, or like a legitimate star player, because like Hightower's an awesome player, but he's not like a star player. Really, I think it's QB because, injuries happen every year. Like big guys lose, like they get tear ACLs in the first week of camp every year. So I think the NFL, a game that has 22 starters and 20 guys who play significant roles off the bench, I think they're going to be all right. And I think learning from baseball will help. And at this point, most of the guys who opt out probably have already. I know there's some days left, but they've all already had their report to do their COVID test. So it's a lot of guys like if you're going to report, if you're going to opt out, why even report and show up and all that stuff?
Tom Brady's not opting out. He was getting guys together to work out in like March. He's getting guys to work out the last 3-4 months. He's in all the way.
Tom's in, confirmed. Anything else from the NFL? We kind of stumbled into there, and that's good. We like the NFL. Anything else I missed? Any more training camp rumors or anything?
So I don't know if you guys watch Inside Training Camp on NFL Network. You should. They're giving us a look into rookies reporting, quarterbacks reporting, however your team, has it set up for the first wave of guys to report. Most teams have reported and got the initial testing. They're showing everyone doing the right things, wearing masks. They're even showing, these Oakley mouth shields that they're putting on the helmets. I don't think it's really going to do anything. They're even showing that they have these like tracking things where they'll know if you're in a crowd of people or who you're mixing it up with, or if you're within 6 feet of someone that you're not supposed to be. So they're going to use all the technology and things that they can in the NFL to try and push forward and make this thing happen. So watch Inside Training Camp. I've been watching everything, man, but I've been trying to get on Inside Training Camp a little bit to see what they're even saying. Like there really isn't any like protocol, or there really isn't. I don't even think there's too much precaution. The NFL is just, they're going to do what they're going to do. The NFL is going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to play. And if guys want to opt out or if guys get sick, they don't care. They're not giving up their day of the week. When Sundays come this fall, there's going to be 11 guys versus 11 guys.
Bobo?
I mean, we march forward. We move forward. They're doing testing. They're giving them a 3-week ramp-up period where they're not, practicing in pads or anything. So I have some takes on how to do it, but it kind of involves the Marlins. So should we hit on that?
Yeah, and I think before we go into the Marlins, boys, we got a quick ad. DraftKings, who's been partnered with John Boy Media. Grab your peanuts and popcorn. Baseball is back. That's right. The boys will be getting back on the diamond, and while we may not be able to join them in the stadium, there is plenty of action to be had in the comfort of your own home. There is no better place to get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To celebrate baseball coming back, DraftKings Sportsbook is offering free bets for every home run your team hits. Woo! Good time to be a Yankees fan. Take advantage of this Grand Slam offer. It's easy. All you have to do is place a pregame bet, at least $25 on your home team, and for every home run they hit that game, you will get $5 worth of free bets. Additionally, DraftKings Sportsbook is offering all new users a sign-up bonus of up to $1,000. Don't worry if baseball isn't your game. DraftKings offers great odds, promotions on all sports ranging from ping pong to basketball. DraftKings Sportsbook is U.S.-based, making it safe and secure, reliable. Plus, it's easy to deposit and withdraw your funds whenever you want. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code JOHNBOY when you sign up. For a limited time, all new users can get a sign-up bonus of up to $1,000. That's code JOHNBOY to get your sign-up bonus of $1,000 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires 25 times play through. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Woo!
Better than me.
That's MLB The Show, baby. Bobby Baseball's my guy. What's on your mind?
So the Marlins obviously are running rampant with COVID right now. And what are the rumors of how it happened? Because none of the Phillies guys tested positive. Is it that the Marlins players were out in the clubs or something like that? I mean, is that like the rumor with the Marlins?
Find me in the club, bottle full of bub. Of course. These guys were scrimmaging, and they were doing the inter squad scrimmages, and they probably had a night out before the season actually started, before everything kicked off, and they might have been in the club. But that's because the clubs in Atlanta were opening in like April. Who knows, man? I don't know.
All right. So in order to keep baseball going, and sometimes like this with the Marlins, it looks like it might have been their fault, but also the luck of the draw. Why not just make these teams, and even if it's the Yankees or the Dodgers, make these teams forfeit their games? Like, you lose if you have this certain amount of guys test positive for COVID, because then that puts it on the players like, hey, you go around and screw around, you're going to end up losing the season for everybody. So that puts a little more onus on them to take this more serious. And the Marlins thing will make guys take it a little more serious, but, just like everywhere else in the world, they'll ease up after a few weeks. Why not just force these teams to forfeit these games, and so that like makes the players be a little more safer with it, and you don't have to make the Marlins have to make up 2 weeks worth of games.
So, Bobby, I was kind of on the same page with you because I think for something like this, fear controls the people. So if the more scared of it you are, the better. Unfortunately, I think schedule-wise, that can screw over other teams. Like, so let's say the Phillies are supposed to be playing the Marlins right now. Do you give the Phillies wins?
Yes.
Just no game.
Yes. And that kind of screws them, giving them easy wins, but I mean, it's just kind of it's a weird year.
Yeah, with the inner divisions, I mean, you can just accidentally give a team a bunch of wins, and I think that's unfair to all the other teams. So I understand what you're saying. Punish the Marlins, right? If the Marlins screwed up, punish the Marlins. But unfortunately, if you do that, you're also punishing the other 8 teams they aren't playing because you're giving the other teams wins.
Yeah, and rumors are rumors, hearsay is hearsay. We can say that we think the Marlins went to a club and partied and went out. I heard someone else say they were on a boat or something, and we can assume that that's where they got it, but we can't say that that's for a fact where they got it. With this virus, it's an invisible virus. We can't track it. We can't say who picked it up from where or who passed it to who, or whether they got it from an asymptomatic person or not. And it could be the hotel they were staying in. It could be the bus driver got a bunch of guys in. It's too hard to call. So I don't think they could punish teams as far as saying, okay, you have to forfeit your game because 8 guys on your team tested positive, because they can't trace exactly how, like, who was the first one to get it? How did it spread? Like, I don't know. It is a weird year. It's the craziest thing I've ever literally lived through and seen.
The thing that was kind of eye-opening after that, because Bobby, I love the thought process. And from there, it's, okay, we made 60-man rosters for a reason. Like, okay, Marlins, you lost 14 guys, plug in whoever you got. And unfortunately, with the 40-man rules in baseball that they went to 60-man, a lot of these teams just brought up their young studs. Like, they wanted to keep their top prospects in camps. It's not guys the Marlins want to use this year. So, unfortunately, they should have made the rules. They should have made the rules more so that teams had to bring in veterans. But then that gets tricky, too, because we work with Trevor Plouffe, and Plouffe was telling me you couldn't pay him enough money to do that. So it becomes a little bit of a high-wire act. Knock on wood, and this isn't something we get to say about baseball a lot, I think they're handling it okay as of now. It was a scary 48 hours. The Yankees went to Baltimore. They're playing their games down there, and they're already figuring out how they're going to make up games with the Phillies. So baseball's attacking it, and the bigger thing that we'll see if there is another outbreak or how this affects, the rest of the season, the MLB owners are going to get this damn thing to the playoffs. They don't really care how. They might have to take a 2-week timeout if everybody's getting sick, but the MLB owners, damned as they will be, will get this season to the playoffs, which is good and scary.
How many like open days is there to make up games? Like, how many of those days do they have scheduled in? Obviously, you could do double headers and stuff, but how many of those are scheduled in?
Not that many off days. When you look at the schedule, like when they set the schedule up, they couldn't really do the regular off day type of thing. Like, looking at the Yankees schedule, we have now, like, this month is smoked, but we have 4 off days in August, and then we have 5 in September. And Aaron Boone just came out and said that the Yankees are going to make up these games against the Phillies, and that we're going to play double headers. And he expects, like, the first week of August, the Yankees and Phillies to make up all 4 of those games. So we're talking about these off days. These off days in August might get pushed because who knows? They're going to force it. And like Jake said, this is all to get to the postseason because that's where the money is. That's where all the eyes will be, that high-level baseball that we get at the end of the year. And now we have the expanded postseason, the expanded playoffs. They're going to do whatever it takes to get us to this 16-team playoff. And I don't know. It's interesting. I went through the emotions Monday of, literally thinking, wow, we had 1 weekend of baseball. I tweeted out, man, I poured my baseball heart out on Talking Sports because I love seeing full slates of games and us being back. And then you get the news Monday that a game gets postponed because guys have the coronavirus, and then that affects the Yankees, and then that's 4 teams that aren't playing. And I'm like, is this going to lead us to where I think it's going to lead us? And no, it didn't. It's the first warning shot where it's like, okay, now other teams, you better take it serious. There's no bubble here. Make sure you're going to the park and you're going home. Make sure you're going to the hotel, you're going home. There's too much at risk.
Did you get into Dodgers Astros at all last night, Bobby, or this morning?
Yeah, I caught up on it this morning. Pretty entertaining, I usually don't I know this isn't good for the print, but I usually don't watch John Boy's breakdowns just because there's so many and I'm not the biggest baseball fan. But man, that was a good one. It's kind of nuts. And then they suspended him 8 games with that. I don't know. He never even hit a guy. I don't know what to think about that, but it was pretty wild. For no one getting hit, that's as pretty entertaining as going back and forth. And Joe Kelly with some good trash talk, and Correa didn't make much sense where he said I'll if you would have done this, I would have hit a home run. It's yeah, that's sports, dude. You could have. It was just really interesting, and Bregman definitely looks shook. I'm not looking I'm not foaming at the mouth at the Astros like a lot of people are, but I mean that was definitely interesting, and I hope it happens again just for the theater's sake.
Yeah, I'm looking at this stuff on Twitter now. It's just funny. So this is why they have to do that, right? They're setting an example. This Astros shame tour is on with no fans, with this different season where they're not going to play the Yankees. They're going to play, they had to face the Dodgers, and they ran into the Dodgers in game 4 or game 5 or whatever it was for them. This is to set an example and say, hey, if you think you're going to take the game into your own hands, take matters into your own hands and throw at these guys or get at these guys, you're going to be missing 8 games. 8 games is a lot of time for Joe Kelly and the Dodgers. That's a lot of time in a 60-game season. So now, man, they did that. I will say this. Some guys don't care. There is somebody else that is waiting for the opportunity. It might be tonight. There's another guy that's going to go out there I don't give a damn. I'm throwing at these guys. I'm starting it up. They cheated the game. They walked around all these last few years with their chest out. They walked around with this cocky attitude, and they literally ruined the game and the integrity of the game. I'll put my 8 games on the line. I'll risk it. There's some relief pitcher that's going to come in there and just not care. So thank you, Joe Kelly. Make sure you guys check out the John Boy Media Shop. Thank you, Joe Kelly. Shirts are out there. They are available. And
thank you, Eli,
Joe Kelly, for your sacrifice.
Now, I'm a big believer if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That being said, Manfred said, didn't he say the punishment for the players will come on the field?
He said their punishment will have to be living with knowing that they were cheaters their entire life. So, the fact that they have to carry around that World Series ring forever is the punishment that they're going to serve. So
that should be all the steroid users' punishments too.
So dumb.
Yeah. I don't know. And Keith, you made a great point about it being the example, because this is coming, and that's kind of why they did this. And there's some wiggle room, right? It's 30-man rosters right now. They've got bodies in the bullpen that they can use. I think the thing that sucks and makes no sense and people are getting loud about and good is that in theory, 8 games this year is compared to 21 games in a normal season. So you just kind of can't do it. And this is where MLB sets themselves up for failure because none of the Astros players got suspended. So you're already seeing it on Twitter and you're going to see it more and more. So nobody got suspended for cheating and knowing the pitches to winning the World Series. But Joe Kelly, who was wild and erratic all inning, I think he threw I think he only threw one ball at a hitter intentionally, and now he's suspended for 8 games. And, I mean, that's where baseball just walks all over itself.
He kind of just ended up in that situation. I think he got into some situations where he started thinking about it. And he was like, well, fuck it. I'm here. Like, I'm going to throw it.
That happens.
Guys. He was all over the place. So it's like, shit, if I can't land my pitches, I don't like these guys. The whole world is watching. Everybody wants to see these guys get hit. It's been talked about for months. All right, I guess I'm the guy. Guess it's on me.
Jake, I liked your tweet this morning of quote tweeting Peter Gammons.
Peter Gammons is the best. Just trying to change the subject.
I love Uncle Pete Gammons so much, but he just to tweet out about a Padres reliever being the story of baseball, when literally baseball had, I think, and this is dumb sports talk radio take, but I'll let it rip. I think last night was the best night in baseball online history.
Yeah.
Like, Twitter was locked in.
East to west.
We've all seen sports Twitter when it locks in on one game. Even the World Series last year, like, there is NBA. I think there's other stuff going on. And, like, yes, Kendrick hits a historic home run. And, you know, obviously World Series, things are amped up. Last night was the first night on Twitter that I was like, everyone is watching this game. And it was really good stuff. Bobby, you said you watched the breakdown. And live, it was just perfect because there's a ton of talent on the field. There's 2 great teams. There's an element of, like, fear. Like, I was sitting there praying that he didn't hit him because I think if he did, I think they would have actually brawled. And if they had brawled after 48 hours of fighting coronavirus stuff, it would have been an absolute disaster. It worked out and was almost best case scenario. Joe Kelly should not be suspended that amount of games. But for one of the first times ever in baseball's history, it was must-watch TV. If anyone had their phone and then FS1 and they were on sports Twitter, you went and watched that game. It was like a beautiful night for baseball.
Yeah, there's no way I was going to sleep. I was up until 1:30. Like, my girl even came out, like, what are you doing? I'm like, nah, like, I'm like, I don't know if I can explain to you what is happening right now online and on the TV. I'm like, John Boy already has a classic breakdown in the queue. Like, I don't even know what he's going to say, what he's going to do, but I know what he does with this type of stuff, and we've all been waiting for this, and it's the way it played out. It was better than we imagined. Nobody knew exactly. No one knew it was going to be Joe Kelly, but we all, I sent Kyle that screenshot of the Astros cheat banner. Like, the Astros fans go hard. Pantone 294, shout out to them. Like, they're one of the best fan groups. They set up this GoFundMe to fly a plane over Dodger Stadium September 12th when the Astros come there to say, like, with a banner that says Astros cheated. So I sent that to Kyle. I'm like, bro, put this out before the game starts, because you could see baseball Twitter bubbling like, oh shit, Astros, Dodgers tonight at 9. I think a couple people are like, you watching the game? You watching the game? Of course, everybody's watching the game. And the Astros struck first. Correa, of course. Correa hits a solo shot. Boo, nobody's feeling that. But I think I sent out a tweet. I was like, okay, well, the Dodgers are hitting the ball to where guys are for now. The Dodgers were hitting they were hitting, I can't remember the pitcher because I'd never seen them before, whoever they rolled out there, because the Astros have no pitching. But they were hitting them. And I was like, this is for now. They're going to eventually get to him. They do. Dodgers go up 5-2. When Joe Kelly came in, he knew that he had a lead. He knew that he couldn't land shit. He was missing by a mile. But when you're missing like that, it's like, okay, if I'm going to walk this guy, I might as well buzz one by his head. The first one he threw by Bregman, and you guys have seen the video. We don't have to rehash it. I was like, oh, it's like watching a movie. It's like, oh, here it comes. Bregman looks shook. Correa thinks he's a tough guy. It played out better than I think anyone expected. I'm pumped to watch it tonight. I'm about to watch the Yankees on one screen and cover that, and then have my eye on the Astros Dodgers on the other screen. Because I'm telling you, that 8 games, some of these guys don't care. The Astros are one thing, right? The Dodgers losing Joe Kelly, they're loaded. They got guys. They got talent. They're going to figure out how to, patch up that hole in their bullpen. But there's other teams and other guys that they want a piece of the Dodgers. A lot of these players across the league have said, we haven't forgot. The Astros, they're not getting off scot-free because the fans can't give it to them. Like, they still got to step out there with us. And I loved it, man. I love baseball. I love to see baseball get the main stage and be the only one on stage. And like late at night like that, like Jake said, and where everybody, even if you don't watch baseball and you don't really know the backstory, you're seeing all of these tweets and you see like, I don't know, you see Astros trending. You're gonna turn on TV, you're gonna get in on it, and man, the level of trolling and memes and videos and shit that came out, I was half asleep, but I was cracking up out here. I was loving it.
I love Astros fans.
They're man, it's funny, and it's something that not enough fans have done. This will be my defense for Astros fans. Imagine putting yourself in those own shoes. I mean, we're here as major sports fans. If it came out that one of your teams did that, I mean, I'd be against the wall scratching, seeing what I could get.
So like, we cheated. Guess what? We won a championship. I would be still strutting that championship around. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Y'all were all cheating. I would be saying that y'all were all cheating too.
They made it worse. Their fans made it worse.
I'm an Astros fan defender. What's it like knowing that you guys will never have that market, though? Like, there's nothing you guys can do to ever get Astros fans to be like, you know what?
Want it.
Good point, Jake.
Strongly disagree. If I want Astros market, I just lean into the dude who's normally sitting to the side of me. I've got the easiest route.
You should just start retweeting people. Be like, good point.
I mean, I've thought about different Houston angles. I think I'm going to find one and then lay into it. But I think more time will need to happen for that to take place. Honestly, I'm excited for baseball tonight. The Dodgers in Houston are on ESPN, the worldwide leader, at 7 p.m. Would be interesting to see if there's some fireworks. Just please don't give me a brawl, because then the Corona people are going to come out hard, and then we're having a bad time. And then basketball is here tomorrow, boys. It still hasn't clicked. I know Bobby Bubbles has been there setting screens for the Nets and working with Jamal Crawford on some pick and rolls.
Mm-hmm.
It just hasn't clicked in my head yet. And I do think tomorrow, when I see Zion on the court, I think it's going to go off big time. I'm so stoked. I'm just thinking of all the dark sports times that we've been through over the past 3 months, 4 months, starting a podcast called Talkin Sports when there's literally no sports being played. And here we are picking up the end of the NBA season. We're in an MLB sprint, and then we'll be in the playoffs for both, which is just as good as it gets.
Yeah, we're going to have the NBA and NHL and baseball playoffs all going on at the same time in the NFL season. So be ready to get to work, fellas. Some late nights. I love it. Yeah, I got into the bubble the last 2 days. I've been kind of, been in my own little world. Like, all right, the real game starts soon. And I just have so many takes that I'm waiting for to watch these 8 games. So I literally have like a take list in my head, and I'm ready to work them out for when the seating's set, and then I'm off, and I'm waiting I'm very close to picking the Magic over the Raptors in the first round, guys. And then whoever plays the Nuggets, I'm taking them in the first round.
I'm ready for it to hit that pace where it goes from these guys like casually hooping, these guys
I feel bad for you, Keith. You have to watch all the Nets games. They're literally going to be the worst team in the entire bubble.
But I don't care. This isn't the Nets team. The Nets are playing with like missing half the team. We're watching the guys that are trying out to be on the Nets. These guys that we're watching the JV team. Like, I'm not worried
Jamal
about
Crawford's got a 41-year-old tryout. I love it.
And watch him get off. I guarantee you he gives us some highlights. I guarantee he hasn't played in any of these scrimmages. They're going to unleash him as soon as Friday at 2:30 comes. And the first team that will play is the Magic. I just said on Talkin Nets, I don't think we're beating the Magic, and I don't think we're holding the 7th seed and holding off the Magic from taking that from us. But we might step out there and compete and surprise some people. We should beat the Wizards. We got the Wizards on Sunday. But I am just ready to watch these games go from like a 7 to a 10, because there are guys that are out there with something to prove. I wrote in the notes like, yo, James Harden's been going off. James Harden, he's playing in these scrimmages like he always plays. Like, he's getting buckets. He's giving guys work. I just saw Eric Gordon went down with an ankle injury. So, like, that's tough. That sucks, but we're going to see that too. Guys are going to get hurt. It's going to hit that level. Bol, that's all the talk. I think Bol has stolen the scrimmages show. The first 2 weeks of bubble play, everyone's like, okay, why did he not get drafted until like pick 40 something. Where did he come from? Why did nobody talk about him? Why didn't he play in the beginning of the year? Why is he shooting like that? Why is he like this good? It's interesting, man. You got Deion Waiters, J.R. Smith back. Like the storylines in the NBA are going to be great for this. And I'm glad that it counts starting tomorrow because now I can get into it. It's hard to, even on Talking Nets, talk about the scrimmages. I can't buy into the fact that the Nets beat the Spurs in a scrimmage. The Spurs don't give a shit about a scrimmage. Like, I can't buy into the fact that we were a bucket away from tying the Jazz the other night. And, like, no, I know that Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell in a real game, they're going to smoke us.
Best friends.
Yeah, that's interesting, too, how these guys, like, they hated each other for a little while or they weren't talking for a little while, but now they're back in the bubble and they got to play. It's business. This is going to hit an interesting pace, and I'm ready to see it, man. It's going to be wild. This has been a wild week just in general with sports and us covering sports and John Boy Media. It's like everything is coming at us at once, and it's like, like just 2 months ago, we were in a quarantine pandemic, didn't know like when anything was really going to go down. Now it's like everything is happening, and it's a good time. It's history. We're blessed to see it, and we're blessed to cover it. So let's get into it tomorrow. NBA.
Man, I'm so excited. You know what I think is going to be the new bar, and I think it was part of the pandemic. Like Sundays became the bar for me. For a while, we had the MJ doc, and it was kind of like checking off the week. Like we made it through another week of the pandemic, so we get our reward of the MJ doc. Then it ended. Then the smart people started fighting. The world's been crazy for a little while. I think Saturday's my new check-in. Last Saturday, I was in little sports piggy heaven, man. I was watching all the baseball, clicking back and forth between channels. It was great. This weekend, it'll be the same thing, baseball and basketball, just the sports orgy heaven. And then, like, when does the bubble playoffs start? Do we know? Is that 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
3 weeks, I think, because they have to play 8 games each. So every other. It's like, yeah, I'll just say 3 weeks and guess.
And so you're not getting on the bull train because I know Keith's been pushing that.
No, I let him play more than 10 minutes in games that matter, and then I'll get on the train. I'm not getting on the bull train off preseason, and him like not passing to wide open people for fadeaway threes.
I mean, I don't think he's gonna just become an NBA superstar, but I definitely think he's stolen the bubble scrimmages time. I definitely think he's put a lot of people on notice. I don't know what he's going to be like when they actually get into real games. But
you never know with the Nuggets. They might just screw around and play him 48 minutes a game.
I love your Nuggets hate. It fuels me.
I'm leaning into it pretty good.
When I go to the courts, I'm in my Denver Nugget baby blues, just raining buckets on you.
It's just the organization. It's not even any of the players. I like Jokic. I like Jamal Murray. It's just the organization is. You say, Jake, top down. And the fact that they're still doing Zoom for their games is unbelievable.
It's just like, lazy. Imagine.
It is lazy. It's just Denver. Everything in Denver is lazy.
Bunch of stoners, bunch of goddamn hippies.
I agree.
They're doobies in their Wake and Jake podcast. I don't know, boys. What else do we need to hit? I mean,
so I have the dates. So the first round of the NBA playoffs begins August 17th. The conference semifinals August 31st. The conference finals September 15th, and the NBA finals begin September 30th. Yo, what a fall we're about to roll into! Like, I'm already over the heat. Like it's too hot outside from 8 o'clock in the morning on. I'm wearing tanks all day.
Good
By
news.
the end of the day, I'm sweaty.
Exactly when I'm outside.
I'm over it being, 90-degree days. I'm ready for it to cool off a little bit. I heard John Boy say something in the office about, I'm ready to get back in the hoodies. And that first day that it says the high is 70. So when we get into September, late September, October, and there's NFL, there's NBA, there's baseball, and it's like we've been doing this for a while, and I mean, who knows? It's just it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm always looking forward to the fall sports-wise, but this is gonna be a way different, sports vortex.
I'm ready for Hurricane Isaiah, man. That thing's headed right at me.
I haven't heard about that.
Well, I just put you on notice. Hurricane is literally coming. Like I tweeted it out last night. right before I fell asleep. It's here. Let me just pull up the picture. I can show you guys where I am.
Isaiah Thomas is going to be a short one.
That's a little small one. Not the other one though. A little pretty nasty.
Oh, Bobby, I forgot. You got to link up with Trev. I don't know if you know this. Trevor Plouffe comes from a long line of pool men.
Oh yeah. See, I'm right where that black dot is. That's where the hurricane is coming. And we both spent some time in Minnesota as transplants, so we can talk about that too.
Holy smokes, bringing it all together. Boys, I think maybe even more exciting, I'll ask for some reviews. Leave a 5-star review. It helps. We got a few.
We should read some of the reviews to see if anyone's left in it.
Let's get to 100. Leave a review. We'll read it on the next episode.
Reviews are like the hardest thing to get people to do.
Hold on. I think we should read some of the most recent ones.
Okay.
To get people. Fair. Let's do it. So someone pull them up.
I got it.
Engage.
So the most recent one from Sunday is 5-star review. It says great. It's from Mark Ingram fan 22 and Mark Ingram fan 22 writes, Bobby Skinner is a budding star.
Agreed. I agree with that one. More of those. June 29th.
Local AT&T and was leaving reviews again.
They don't let you do that. I've tried that. You have to have you have to have an iOS setting or like a username.
June
but I have just left Talkin' Giants playing.
We get a 5-star review that says low-key funny from always apropos. Like the type of low-key funny that
always
is
a pros pro.
Always a pros. I'm like, I can't read that. Always _a pro. A pros po. I guess you know these people. Like the type of low-key funny that is exactly what you were looking for.
Low-key. Okay?
The day before, June 28th, this review comes from AB123HG67. It's good. I like this. 5 stars. June 22nd, Frank _1188. Good stuff. Great stuff.
Here's one.
Short and sweet. I'll take them.
If you like sports, then Simple Man Radio is for you. That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We're at 62 ratings. Let's get to 100 by NBA playoffs. Let's start bumping it, people. And boys, this was what I was gonna say as my closing statement. I was gonna say, we'll be recorded next Sunday. Excited to see you. Tease it a little bit. I think the best part of when sports is around, we have no idea what we'll be talking to you about on Sunday, and that's kind of my favorite part of sports.
I love it.
So we'll see what's there. We appreciate you guys. Hope you've been enjoying talking sports. Go check out everything on the John Boy Media family. If you're a Giants fan and you're not tracking Bobby, then you probably hate him by this point if you're still listening to this. I don't know. It'd be really weird. Keith's crushing the Nets stuff. Knicks. Everything's all over the network. Go check it out. We appreciate you, and we'll talk sports soon.